But there will
Yeah.
be no flight to come to Ahmedabad, no?
Sorry, could not hear.
Himanshu, are we joining? Are we starting on time or is there a delay?
So we are on time, sir. We will start the session. Yeah. Yes, sir. With the permission, we can start the session. Yes, sir.
Yeah, we can start, right, Himanshu?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We can start, sir.
Okay. You putting on live or we are already on live?
Yeah, yeah. Now we are on live, sir. YouTube live. We are live.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. First of all, thanks for showing up for a wonderful cause that we all are concerned and share about our concern together. So today is a World Water Day, and we all are sharing this platform thanks to IGBC All Gujarat chapters. This is co-organized by Ahmedabad, Baroda, and Surat chapters of IGBC. And also thank you on behalf of all of institute partners, which include AD Patel Institute of Technology, Ganpat University Architecture Program, GH Patel College of Engineering and Technology, Institute of Technology, Nirma University, SCET Architecture Program, Silver Oak University, and last but not least, SVNIT Surat. So wonderful list of all participant partner institutes along with IGBC. Welcome all of you to share this platform on a World Water Day. The webinar theme, as you all know, is groundwater, making invisible visible. And we have a wonderful panel here who will be sharing a lot of insight on these particular issues that we face. So stay tuned as we move along. So as you all know, today worldwide, the reason to share this and celebrate together World Water Day, the main intention is to spread awareness about this huge concern that we as a community as well as globally face. We all know that water is very scarce and very valuable resource that we never worry or think about. And most of the time, it's supplied through invisible sources which are underground and not at our sight line. So we miss them and notice them. But this is a wonderful natural resource gifted to all of the life on our planet. Without it, no life can exist. So it's a concerning issue globally that we all share, that water level and water quality both are depleting, especially in the populated countries, including India. And today we have two good, wonderful presentations that will touch on some of these issues and concerns and share some of the insights on how we go about this particular invisible resource and how do we make that part of our life to care about. So with that, I would like to first invite Samir Bhai, who chairs the IGBC Ahmedabad chapter, to speak a few words, and then we can continue with our program. Samir Bhai.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, Jayesh Bhai. On behalf of the Indian Green Building Council Ahmedabad chapter, it's my pleasure to welcome all of you to this first collaborative event between all the chapters of Gujarat on behalf of IGBC, Ahmedabad, Baroda, Surat, and the upcoming chapters, hopefully in Rajkot very soon. Welcome all of you. It's my pleasure to introduce the panelists of today. To begin with, we have with us Dr. Ratan Jain, former chairman, Central Groundwater Board and Central Groundwater Authority, Ministry of Jal Shakti, Government of India. He's also the advisor to the Government of Gujarat and an authority on the subject. And it will be a pleasure to hear you, sir, and look forward to your presentation. It's also my pleasure to introduce my friend Habil Atarwala, Director, Furat Earth Private Limited, one of the few companies that are doing some amazing work in this field of water. And Habil himself is a passionate, dedicated green warrior. Welcome, Habil, to this forum. We will have with us, hopefully, very shortly, Mr. Snehal Shah, Chairman, IGBC Surat, who's had an exigency and is not able to join right now, but we are hoping he'll be able to join us soon. You've already heard Architect Jayesh Haryani, co-chair and my colleague from Ahmedabad IGBC chapter. So, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of all of us and all the partner institutes, once again, a pleasure to have you all with us. The subject is extremely important. Groundwater is a vital resource. It provides for almost half of all the drinking water worldwide and about 40% of the water for irrigated agriculture and almost 1/3 of the water required for industry. And though we understand the value of and the amount of water that we use, somehow because it is not in our face, because we don't see it, because it is invisible, we somehow don't pay attention to it. Out of sight, out of mind kind of issue. So today there cannot be a better day, the World Water Day, to discuss groundwater. And today's webinar will be a step towards sensitizing all the stakeholders to inspire people around them to learn more about groundwater, the related issues, and to take up the cause and do something substantial in this regard. So with that, I want to once again thank you all for joining us. Jayesh will conduct the event forward, and please, onward to you. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you, Samit bhai. So first we'll invite Dr. Ratan Jain to really share his insights about the subject matter. Please join me welcoming Dr. Jain. Ratan bhai, you are on?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, wonderful.
So, good afternoon, everyone. Can you please share the screen?
Himanshu, will you allow Ratan bhai?
Dr. Jain sir can now share the screen.
Okay. So, good afternoon, everyone. As already introduced, the subject is already introduced by the previous speakers. So, I will start right now with the presentation. The groundwater is often referred to as invisible out, vital resource out of sight, but almost everywhere under our feet. As you can see in the headlining picture, it is impossible to tell its presence, which affects the way it is used, and this common resource is shared between communities and across borders. The structure of my presentation is like this. I'll be, sharing my insights into the following aspects. 7 ways to make the groundwater more visible. India's water resources. Main factors affecting groundwater availability in India. Water demand. Improving groundwater management. Water use efficiency. Wastewater treatment. Potential use of brackish saline groundwater resources. Intelligent management of energy irrigation access. Involvement of other stakeholders. The groundwater management bill. Impact of the interventions and the way forward. So, as all of you know, groundwater is critical to the Earth's survival. Aquifers, our planet's natural reservoirs, account for 97% of the fresh and liquid water. springs from aquifers feed the river, and we will use these for our water supply. Agricultural industry, a large proportion of this is actually coming. Groundwater across the world is under threat because of the over abstraction and pollution. It is an essential supporter in the fight against poverty and child mortality. In many locations, it is the only source of water. Groundwater supports the very survival of the vulnerable populations. Groundwater can help in adapting to climate change and in protecting and restoring the vulnerable ecosystems, but it needs to be sustainably managed through monitoring, regulation, and communication. Across the world, countries import enormous volumes of water, embedded in imported food, clothes, and industrial goods. With much of this being groundwater, this can create problems for other countries in managing water and growing for themselves. Action is needed to empower institutions responsible for protection of groundwater to promote more efficient, ethical, and democratic policies. Greater effort is needed from governments as well as hydrogeologists, NGOs, and wider society to protect this crucial resource for planetary well-being and dignified human life. So, if Earth has a hidden underground pulse, the pulse is groundwater. So, as the subject of the World Water Day goes, making the invisible as visible, making the groundwater visible. There are 7 ways to make the groundwater visible. Number 1 is, and the most important is, demystifying. Being underground makes groundwater seems mysterious. What we can see is the infrastructure needed to extract it on the ground, but not the groundwater. It is not a flowing river, but water that exists in cracks, pores, and fractures of the sediments. Better visualization can help to demystify and bust some common myths. For example, what does polluted groundwater look like? It is no different than the clear water as well. Similarly, groundwater is not always pure and can be unfit for drinking due to presence of naturally occurring arsenic or fluoride or nitrate or uranium, which is impossible to see or photograph it. The second aspect is to understanding the complexity, because groundwater is the resource and the aquifer is the host, both of which need to be protected. The hydrological cycle is only one of the factors that affects how quickly water is recharged after extraction. Contaminated groundwater can take long time to remediate, and understanding such complex processes can help us to value this invisible resource. Getting data on the hidden use, the lack of understanding and data on who uses how much groundwater for what and at which time is missing in most of the country, including India. Unknown individual usage and access means that not all the water resources are accounted in planning and management. And this is true for groundwater specifically. The same is true for aquifers, which are shared across boundaries, exacerbating the risk of power asymmetries. Next is the assessing the impact of climate change. It's a climate change silent threat to groundwater quality and quantity, and very little is known about its impacts. Extreme rainfall caused by climate change cannot infiltrate the groundwater and rejuvenate the aquifer. And similarly, increasing temperatures increase evaporation and decrease the recharge. So, for unlocking the potential, harvesting rainwater and investing in structures that enhance aquifer recharge can help to make groundwater use sustainable and improve our food security, human health, and aquatic biodiversity. This is not only important for the regions that have seasonal rain periods, but a way of looking at the underground reservoirs as the banks that can be used as buffer for dry days or the dry season. Highlighting its role for diversity, groundwater is not just for human use, but it's integral to maintaining stream flow and supporting ecosystems such as wetlands. Overpumping is already driving biodiversity loss and degrading of groundwater dependent ecosystems. So we have to ultimately join the hands, making such connections will go a long way in making groundwater visible and understanding the need to protect aquifers. For this purpose, multiple disciplines need to come together to shine the light on groundwater. We need all perspectives in different disciplines: the hydrogeologists, the social scientists, the lawyers, the modelers, the engineers, to pull all the knowledge and for communicators to make the groundwater visible. Now let us have a look at the situation in India. We in India have nearly 70.5% of the global population, with 1.4% of the freshwater resources of the world. In India, we receive about 4,000 billion cubic meters of precipitation, including rainfall. But the average annual potential in the rivers and aquifers is only of the order of about 1,900 billion cubic meters. That makes about less than 50% of the total precipitation received, because of the losses are mostly because of evaporation. And out of this 1870 BCM also, the utilizable water is estimated to be around 1120 BCM, of which surface water makes about 690 billion cubic meters and groundwater about 430 billion cubic meters. The per capita availability as of 2011 was 1545 cubic meters per capita per year, which is decreasing. And the per capita water storage in the country is about 208 cubic meters per capita, with the surface water and groundwater utilization being about 450 and 250 BCM. So now let us look at the main factors which affect the groundwater availability in India. They are the regional climatic disparities, diverse hydrogeological conditions, underutilization of the irrigation potential created, overexploitation, and virtual water export, overpopulation, and water pollution. So the first one, as I have already said, that we are able to utilize something like 60% of the utilized water in India because of the topographic constraints and the distribution effects. And further, the change in temperature and precipitation also affect the regional water resources and the flood risk, exacerbating regional disparities in water availability across the country. India receives about 115 centimeters of rainfall on average, but has very special variations. And further, major part of this rainfall, nearly 80%, is received during the southwest monsoon season, confined to the 4 months June to September. Of course, Tamil Nadu receives its rain, mostly rains during the October, December, and the 4 states of Jammu, Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, they receive rainfall in all the 4 seasons.
Ratanji,
Yes.
from some of the attendees, they are not able to hear you clearly. Maybe if you can be closer to microphone, that may help. I don't know.
Okay.
But I got a message that your voice is not clear to many.
Okay, I come here. I come here. Okay, thank you for the suggestion. The significant precipitation occurring over a short period, as I explained above, results in a high volume of runoff and consequential floods. However, acute shortages are also common in many regions during the rest of the year. Many Indian cities and towns often run out of water during summer because of the insufficient surface water systems and infrastructure, leaving groundwater as the only visible source. Now, you see, this is what I said can be seen in a graphical manner. You can see the variation in the rainfall across the country from less than 15 centimeters in western part of India to more than 250 centimeters in the northeastern part of India and also along the Konkan and Western Ghats. But you can see that the 75% of the annual rainfall is basically concentrated from June to September. Then there is diverse hydrogeological conditions. These are basically the geology is basically forming the reservoir for storage of water. The geological formations, they are the reservoir host rocks. And there is a lot of variation across the country. So you can see that there are about 14 principal aquifer systems in India based on the major geological formations. And they are grouped into 4 hydrogeological entities. They are the alluvium, which forms a major aquifer, which is shown in the different shades of blue in the right picture, the hydrogeological map. And they are the most productive aquifers. They are located in the Indo-Gangetic Brahmaputra alluvial belt. and also along some of the river valleys. Then the basalts, they are the second most dominant aquifers. And you can see in the left side of the map, on the left side, there is the area under green color in large parts of Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, and Gujarat. We have the basalts. Then they constitute about 17% of the area, and they are comparatively less productive than alluvium. In the suite of hard rock aquifers, excepting the basalt, that is in the southern part of the peninsula, which constitutes about 43% of the area, we have got the hard rock aquifers with lesser storage, transmissibility, and hydraulic properties, and lesser potential. Then there are semi-consolidated aquifers, which are about 8% of the country in isolated places, and they do form significant aquifers, but their area is very, very limited. The third issue is the overexploitation. We are exploiting groundwater, which is more than the combined withdrawal of United States plus China taken together. Our extraction is of the order of about 250 billion cubic meters per year. And this overexploitation is mostly concentrated in the western and northwestern part of the country, in Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan, where the rainfall is comparatively less, but the indiscriminate withdrawal has taken place. Then in the western part of the country, in Rajasthan and Gujarat, because of the airy climate also, groundwater recharge itself is limited and leads to stress on the resources. In the southern part of the peninsula, including parts of Karnataka, Andhra, Telangana, and Tamil Nadu, due to inherent aquifer properties of the crystalline rocks, the groundwater availability is low. We have something like 20 million wells extracting groundwater with free and subsidized power supply, and about 90% of the extracted groundwater is consumed by agriculture sector. Looking to the distribution and the stage of development in the country, this assessment has been carried out jointly by the Central Groundwater Board and the state groundwater departments. There are 6,965 administrative units in the country, which are also called assessment units, and they are coterminous with the talukas of the blocks in the respective states. So, like about 1,114 overexploited units. The draft of groundwater is more than the recharge which is taking place because of the rainfall. And in another 270 units, the stage is critical. The level of groundwater draft is more than 90%, but less than 100%. So about 1,400 units are there out of 6,965 units, nearly 20% of the total number of units in the country, where already overexploitation is taking place. We are drawing more water than what is normally getting replenished. If we look at the breakup, Delhi, Haryana, Punjab, and Rajasthan, they extract more water than is annually replenished, more than 100%. And Himachal Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Uttar Pradesh, Chandigarh, and Pondicherry extract about 70 to 100% of their replenished water, and they come under semi-critical category. Rest of the area is safe, of course, less than 70% of it. Then under utilization of irrigation potential, total contributed area in India is assessed at about 190 million hectares, of which net zone area is about 140 million hectares. And this is based on the ultimate irrigation potential of about 60 million hectares from surface water, major and medium irrigation projects, and about 80 million hectares from surface minor irrigation projects, that is lift and groundwater. What we can see is, out of the ultimate potential, irrigation potential, the created potential is, in case of surface water, about 50 million hectares. But the utilization is about 25 million hectares. So there is a gap of about 13.47 million hectares, which accounts for nearly 30%. So the created potential and the utilized potential, there is a gap of 30%. In case of minor irrigation and groundwater, the gap is about 13 million hectares. That constitutes about 20% of the created potential. So overall, we are using about 75% of the irrigation potential which is created, and 25% potential remains unutilized. Now, virtual water export is one of the very difficult things which have been happening for certain reasons. like what we see is India is reportedly the top net exporter of virtual water in the field. And it exports about 100 billion cubic meters of fresh water through crops, animal and industrial products. This does not look huge, but consider the fact that extraction is highly localized, especially in the northwestern part of India, through the production of crops. This probably also does not include the water rendered unusable through contamination during production of the crops and also rearing of animals in the industrial products. And a, a country deficit in water resources cannot afford to export it unless the reduced footprints are significantly. For example, the export of rice from India. India has produced about 160 million metric tons during 2018-19 and exported about 12 million metric tons. If we consider the water footprint of rice to be about 3,500 liters per kilogram, the water exported is approximately 42 billion cubic meters. The water footprint of the rice exported alone accounts for about 36% of the total groundwater extraction of the total 5 rice producing states, West Bengal, UP, AP, Punjab, and Tamil Nadu. And similar story holds true for sugar, cotton products, cotton machinery, etc. Then overpopulation. This is causing tremendous stress on the water supply. India being the second most populous country in the world, and the increased life expectancy and other factors contribute to rising population and overcrowding in many areas. In addition, because of the various socio-economic factors, many urban centers have seen large influxes of people from the rural areas. The resulting development too often is poorly planned and which has led to loss of ecosystems and biodiversity. This rapid urbanization is also causing increase in the paved areas and decrease in reservoir capacity, drainage and space for recharge areas. And this has ultimately resulted in an increase in the local urban flooding. As the population continues to grow and migration of population in already stressed urban centers continues, demands for water will put additional strains on the over-allocated water resources. Then water pollution. The water pollution is basically of two kinds. It can be classified non-point sources away from pesticides and fertilizers, and point sources from industries and human waste. A significant amount of which is directly dumped into the rivers without treatment. While the largest sources of water pollution in India is untreated sewage and possibly industrial sewage effluents, which have also seeped under the ground, causing pollution of groundwater. Untreated urban wastewater is often discharged to stream, affecting downstream water quality and causing health problems. During summer months, with low flow conditions, the contaminated discharge reaches high levels. So these are the basically factors which are responsible for causing shortage or scarcity of water. Now, if we look at the total water demand scenario in the country for various sectors, including irrigation, drinking, industry, energy, and others. So as per the estimates made by the National Commission on Integrated Water Resources Development, the water demand is likely to increase to 843 BCM in the year 2025 and to 1180 BCM in the year 2050, wherein we will already exceed the average annual availability of 1123 BCM in the country. So now what can be done to improve the management and more specifically the groundwater management in India? Presently, water management remains heavily dominated by the traditional built infrastructure, that is the grey infrastructure. But the enormous potential of working with the nature remains underused in India. And a paradigm shift is required in management approaches towards water shortage challenges in India to progressively increasing use of nature-based solutions across all sectors, including water needed for agriculture, sustainable security, disaster risk reduction, and water quality. So both the nature-based solutions for conservation, that is harnessing opportunities of the hydrological cycle, rainwater harvesting, stormwater management, and so on, and grey infrastructure upgrades, that improving the operations of water distribution system infrastructure can together play a big role in better water infrastructure for India. Now, the water management situation in the country requires a paradigm shift from strictly conservative approach of grey infrastructure creation to increasingly more green nature-based solutions and a mix of other specific technical and policy interventions, like increasing the water use efficiency, addressing the water energy nexus, and the regulatory measures for controlling interventions and behavior with institutional responses to natural findings. The nature-based solution for water security and resilience. This has gained a lot of significance during the last few years, and the dialogue on water and environment has significantly shifted in which the environment cannot only be conserved but managed to meet human needs substantially with a focus on working with nature to produce co-benefits for both people and nature. And in this dialogue, the nature-based solutions for water have contributed importantly. The option of building more surface water reservoirs is increasingly limited by uncertain precipitation, reservoir situation, environmental concerns, and the fact that most of the cost-effective and viable sites have already been used up. In addition, increasing temperature also leads to increased water losses through evaporation. So, as a part of this shift, groundwater and subsurface environments that contain it, that is the aquifers, are increasingly seen as strategic and integral resources for enhancing water supplies and other natural ecosystem services that support human development and resilience. Hence, it is increasingly important to enhance, manage, and sustain services derived from the nature-based infrastructure of aquifers through managed aquifer recharge by managing and optimizing underground water storage towards resilience in dry periods or seasons of uncertain and variable climate. The green infrastructure approach uses natural processes to enhance water availability. There is soil moisture retention, artificial groundwater design, improve water quality through natural and constructed wetlands, riparian buffer strips, and reduce risks associated with water-related disasters and climate change. For the sake of example, floodplain restoration, green roofs, etc. The green infrastructure expands to low-impact development approach to a larger community scale and presents similar sustainable opportunities to local government and user projects for implementation at the lower levels of administration as well. To develop a sustainable water supply chain in India, the green infrastructure approach can substitute, augment, or work in parallel with the green infrastructure in a cost-effective manner. So both the nature-based solutions for conservation of harnessing the opportunities of hydrological cycle, rainwater harvesting, storm management, etc., and grey infrastructure upgrade, improving operations of water distribution infrastructure can together play a big role in better water infrastructure for India. The nature-based solutions mainly address water supply through managing precipitation, humidity, storage, infiltration, and transmission, so that improvements are made in the location and quantity of water available for human needs. To look at the opportunity of managed aquifer recharge, the Central Groundwater Board has carried out studies to demarcate areas suitable for artificial recharge in the country. That is, those areas where depth water level is more than 3 to 8 meters below ground level, with declining trend of water level over last few years, and areas with water quality deterioration. There is some about 11 lakh square kilometers of the area has been identified in the country, and about 185 BCM of non-committed surplus water has also been estimated for available for recharge. Recharging this water can augment our groundwater resources by 130 million cubic meters at an estimated cost of 1,33,145 lakh rupee, crores of rupees. The grey infrastructure exists to the management practices for irrigation projects. So the most important thing is to close the gap between irrigation potential created and utilized through farmer participatory canal area development work. This can be done through aggressive promotion of participatory irrigation management through water users association at the outlet and distributory level. But we need to establish a minimum irrigation service at a regional level, and at least 50% of that should be provided to the WUS for maintenance and distribution of the system. So in addition, enhancing the resources available to major and medium irrigation departments for improving operation and maintenance of irrigation systems through technology improvements such as SCADA and automation through IT, information technology solutions. Then broadening the disciplinary skill set available with irrigation departments to include social science and agriculture extensions. We did not form a part of the irrigation project. Now, if you look at the water use efficiency, then this table shows that how much efficiency is achievable and how much is the present level of efficiency. So in case of irrigation, we see that the present level of efficiency is about 30%, while fully achievable is around 60%. So there is a scope to increase the efficiency by another 30%, 100% rather. Right now it's 30%, so another 100% of 30%. And the quantum of water which is likely to be saved at full efficiency level will be about 100 billion cubic meters. If we are able to increase the efficiency only by 20%, then also we save something like 70 BCM of water. Same case in case of groundwater, the efficiency is about 55%, but we can achieve up to 75%. And there is a scope for 20% increase, providing about 45 BCM of additional water resources. In drinking water sector also similarly, about 10 BCM can be saved and the efficiency can be increased from 60 to 90%. In case of rural water supply also, it is possible to increase the efficiency. So we can see that water use efficiency in India, if it is increased to the fully achievable level, we are able to generate another 166 BCM of water from the waters already utilized. And if we are able to achieve, say, only a 20% increase, then we are able to save 130 BCM of water, which is adequate to meet the irrigation requirements and drinking water requirements up to the year 2050. Now, why we talk of water use irrigation in efficiency in irrigation sector, because we consume nearly 90% of all the groundwater which is found in the country for agriculture, and also about 50% of the canal water supplies. So what is happening is the traditional irrigation techniques like flooding the fields is resulting into water losses from evaporation, drainage, percolation, conveyance, and excessive use also. So the potential solutions include educating farmers on best practices of micro and drip irrigation and precision irrigation. This will help save anything between 30 to 40% of the water resources which are applied for irrigation. For example, with 10% increase of water use efficiency in irrigation projects, additional 14 million hectare area can be brought under irrigation from the existing capacity. As per the estimates of the National Commission on Water, National Water Mission, about 112 BCM of water could be saved by 20% increase in the efficiency. And there could be the additional demand for irrigated agriculture, as I said, for the year up to 2050. Then non-revenue water. You see, this is also a very severe constraint on the water resources, and a lot of saving is possible. The amount of non-revenue water is high in India for several reasons, including advanced system age, poor maintenance, illegal connections, leakages, and lack of proper mapping. The average non-revenue water in India is almost 32%. In some of the Indian cities, it makes up even 50% of the water produced. The major determinants of water utility's successful performance are mainly there is a lack of meter connections and the extent of distribution networks with inadequate pumping facilities. It is estimated that typical Indian water utility has the potential to improve water pumping system efficiency by 25%, thereby increasing the supply reliability. Further, better water accounting would support more economically viable water markets for an already stressed water sector, and to this end, the creation of robust water accounting framework is integral to better water policies for India. By contrast, such policies as providing free electricity to farmers or giving financial support for groundwater extraction have resulted in uncontrolled exploitation and waste of water resources. Then wastewater treatment, this is another avenue from where we can, generate water which can be used for purposes other than drinking. Because the reuse of treated water could be an effective instrument for improving the financial position of municipalities. Because this will not only strengthen the financial position, but also address the problem of domestic water pollution. India should give emphasis on developing a 100% treatment capacity of the secondary level of treatment. And treated water can be used for irrigation purposes and for recharging or replenishing groundwater, subject to its water quality criteria. The industry should be mandated to reuse treated municipal wastewater, and revenue obtained from treated wastewater for irrigation and industrial purposes could be used to supplement the sewage treatment costs, which are comparatively higher. India has not defined the discharge standards for pollution emanating from agriculture, so that also needs to be defined. And corrections in fertilizer, pesticide, and electricity pricing would be an instrument for addressing the non-farm water pollution in India. Then we have a huge water resources of the brackish and saline groundwater of 1100 BCM in Haryana, Punjab, Delhi, Rajasthan, Gujarat, Uttar Pradesh, Karnataka, and Tamil Nadu. This water can be utilized for many crops which are salt tolerant, like the salt tolerant varieties of crops, vegetables, and food plants like barley, dates, and pomegranate. When these crops are irrigated with saline or brackish water, the yields are not significantly affected. Similarly, the dual water supply systems carbon settlements can be introduced, wherein we can provide fresh treated water for drinking purpose only and brackish groundwater for other domestic uses like used in toilet, flushing, wash basins, providing water for the lawns, etc. The use of this resource will thus help save fresh or good quality of water for use by other sensitive crops or for other purposes. This map shows basically the distribution of the poor quality groundwater areas in the country. Then intelligent management of energy irrigation nexus. This can be one of the principal tools of groundwater demand management. Tariff reform has proved a political challenge in many states, but other hybrid solutions need to be invented. Like Gujarat has invented the solution of Jyoti Gram, where they have separated the feeder lines for electric for irrigation and the domestic water supply, and the electric supply in the feeder for irrigation is limited to 8 hours in 24 hours, while the domestic feeder is limited to 24 hours of electricity supply. So as a result, we have been able to curtail the groundwater pumping basically for the irrigation purposes. But in other states in the country, we are also moving in the direction of demand management by rationing power, like Punjab. They are effectively using stringent power rationing in summer to encourage farmers to delay rice transportation by a month, and in the process significantly reduce their groundwater depletion. Andhra Pradesh, which used to give farmers free power, has now restricted the power timings to 7 hours in 24 hours, and Haryana has introduced higher MSP for less water intensive crops, thus the electricity demand as well as reducing the groundwater depletion also. Then you see, there is a need for involving other stakeholders as well. The water management should not be perceived as the sole responsibility of the Ministry of Jal Shakti, Government of India, and water resources departments of the state anymore. Because we need to make water everybody's business in the true sense through involvement of all stakeholders, like how the other stakeholders can pitch in. The Ministry of Agriculture, it has got a very important role in the providing possible policy intervention through crop diversification, MSP, cropping suited to agroclimatic conditions, capacity building, IC activity, R&D related to water efficiency in agriculture. So all these activities, policy interventions will lead to increase in the availability of water resources and also improve quality of water. Industries and chemicals. Ministries can optimize on the subsidy regime to promote green fertilizers. Instead of the synthetic fertilizers, to promote green fertilizers, the quality of water is likely to improve because it will not be affected more by the nitrates and the phosphates. Similarly, the Ministry of Industry, Commerce and Industry, they can optimize the virtual water export because ultimately what is important should be conserved in the country and not exported. So this will lead to significantly help in the increasing the availability of water. Then technology upgradation for industries for reducing water use and effluent discharge will also help in availability and quality. Food and Consumer Affairs Ministry can provide incentives for changing dietary habits of the people. That is, to subsidize the distribution of coarse millets. That is better for health, and that will help to increase, reduce the water footprint. Corporate affairs, they can promote CSR activities in water sector. Then Earth Sciences Ministry, they can have offshore groundwater exploration to find out some marine groundwater discharge. Environment Ministry for abatement of industrial pollution, afforestation, R&D, and climate change, it will also help in increasing the availability. The Finance Department can increase outlays to incentivize community-driven participatory water management because participation is absolutely essential in managing the people's resource. That can help increase the water availability. Food processing. If there are initiatives taken for promoting cultivation of low water consuming crops through establishment of food parks and processing units and encouraging value-added products, I think we can increase the water availability. And similarly, for health, housing, HRD, law, industries by use of better technologies, micro, small and medium industries, better technologies for efficient use of water and minimizing contamination, mines through better reclamation of mined areas, energy through the policy of promoting solar pumps without regard to status of groundwater resources. Then power can, in terms of reviewing the existing subsidy regime for irrigation, the Transport Ministry to provide mandatory water conservation along highways and across bridges so the water runs out across. Then rural development, more emphasis on community water governance. Industry, steel industry, especially improving technology for optimizing water consumption in steel industry. Textile industry also for optimizing water consumption and contamination in the textile industry. So these are the various players who can possibly pitch in and provide a better strategy for water management in the country. Then we have the regulatory framework also. Government of India has introduced Model Bill 2016 for sustainable management, asking states to enact the same for groundwater regulation. So far, about 18 states in the country have enacted this. The beauty of this bill is groundwater is treated as a common food resource and as a common heritage of the people held in public trust, and not as a property of the state, community, or the persons. It follows the principles of subsidiarity, ensuring the participation of the lowest level functionary in decision making. And it ensures that overwhelming majority of small farmers will have water available for their crops and resulting in effective regulation of a large scale groundwater use. It is built on the holistic principle of sustainability, including surface and groundwater to meet the basic needs of every person. The bill recognizes that groundwater is perhaps the most important resource governing India's future economic development and life and livelihood security for the Indian people. Now, what is going to happen with these interventions which I have proposed? So, something like 300 BCM of fresh water will be saved through efficient water management and nature-based green infrastructure of artificial nature. We are going to generate additional.
Dr. Jain, how many more slides you have? How much more time you require? Sorry.
2 or 3 slides.
Yeah, you are 5
Maybe another
minutes
5
over.
minutes.
So request you to go fast.
Yes, it will be wound up in next 5 minutes.
Okay, thank you.
Then the regulatory framework and capacity building will also be very useful. So the way forward is rolling the huge irrigation potential created and irrigation potential utilized gap, because it is also a low hanging fruit which can be picked by investing in the canal area development works, ERM projects and irrigation management reforms. Then aggressive promotion and incentivization of sprinkler and drip irrigation systems. And more specifically in critical areas, it can form the most important demand side management strategy to come over the overconsumption. Manage aquifer recharge, intelligent management of energy irrigation mixes and participate in groundwater management offers a major opportunity for water secure and resilient India. The managed aquifer recharge is most economic, most benign, most resilient, and most socially acceptable solution. What has not been given due importance in the past due to lack of awareness, inadequate knowledge of aquifers, immature perception of risks, and inadequate policies for integrated water management, including linking MLR with the demand management. Then mandating progressively increase use of recycled filtered water, which has huge potential for substitution of fresh groundwater resources used in industrial, domestic, non-potable and agricultural sectors. Encouraging use of brackish water for some rural crops, especially in western and northwestern India. Then conjunctive use of surface water, treated wastewater and groundwater is a big but hitherto unexploited opportunity for supply side management and then of course regulation. So what is needed is the change in perspective. Groundwater offers climate resilient freshwater source and alternate for drought proofing. Evidently, abstraction of groundwater cannot ignore the limits defined by the nature. Its exploitation and management requires paradigm change in our approach to ensure sustainability, and there is an urgent need to adopt a balanced supply and demand side interventions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Jain.
Okay.
Wonderful insight about all water-related issues from source to what challenges we are facing to some of the ways we can improve, and even the stakeholders that can really join hands to work on this particular biggest concern that we face today. We will probably open up questions towards the end of the session. So first, we will invite our next speaker, Mr. Habib Atharwala, to share his presentations, and then we can take up the questions together, if you don't mind. So, Mr. Atharwala, podium is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Jayesh. I need to share my screen, so yeah. Is it visible, my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, IGPC, CII, for creating such a good platform. Dr. Jain, thank you very much for the insight you have given for the underground resources.
Thank you.
Without going into much of the technical thing about groundwater, because Dr. Jain already had explained you much about it. I will talk more about rainwater harvesting, because as you know that 80% of our requirement is through the groundwater, but what we are doing for replenishing it. So if we want to do much in a faster way, in a functional way, we should have some technology, and we should adopt technology which should be sustainable throughout for couple of years to come. So taking forward in my slide, I have on this subject today is groundwater making the visible invisible. making invisible visible. So I will have my presentation from my perspective that for rainwater harvesting, we have to make it visible, which is right now invisible in present context. So I will take you to this slide. You will be little wondering why I'm showing you these two cars in the rainwater harvesting. But I just want to compare that what you will opt for in today's world. You will go for the very old conventional motor car, or you will like to have a better car with a fuel efficiency, functionality. So now all the things which is available today in this world, it is the people you adopt is more of a functional thing, efficient thing, and in it long lasting. So why not we should go for rainwater harvesting in a not in a conventional way like people used to do. It is become an important substance in our life, because without water, your building, your office, your factory will not be having a sustainability, and you cannot afford to buy water from outside. And yes, you don't know the quality of water when you are buying from outside. So there are many challenges in this, and we as a company and our passion towards water, we are into this business since last 20 years, and we have come to that point that yes, we need to understand the subject very holistically, and we have to approach it in a very systematic way, in a scientific way. It is achievable. It is not like it is not achievable. Why it is not achievable? Because people are not following the science, they are not following and they are not studying what is required in today's life. Earlier, yes, we have seen that there were only open wells and people were sufficing their rainwater regular requirement from that. But now it is not possible because we are using shower and many more things are available, and we have a high speed pump and everything. So looking at today's requirement, we have to have products which has linked with in our life, subject to today's requirement. So just I'll give you a glimpse of our company, what we are doing. But before that, I was showing you the car. Similarly, these are the structures which are conventional, and it is defunct. So couple of places we have been invited to redo the whole thing, and we have just surveyed it. And all these structures are defunct because the design is not scientific. It is nothing like there is something wrong in it. They've used the similar filter, similar pattern of borewell, recharge borewell and everything. But they have not taken care of how they will maintain it. So this is the most challenging part of rainwater harvesting or anything. If you buy a car or if you have any of the automation or if anything you have it, it needs to be serviced, maintained through the years. So how well you effectively you maintain the rainwater harvesting structures, it is more effective and functional throughout the years. So you see all these structures. See the screen, which is the screen, how it is accessible. It is not accessible. So what we do is we go from the maintenance part, and then we develop the product. So all our products which we develop is through the research and the site study of the area and particular places where all the client is facing the problem. The major problem they face is the maintenance. Right? So taking forward, just to give a glimpse of our company, what we are doing.
Mr. Attarwala, I don't think the audio is playing with your video.
Is it okay?
We can see the video, but the audio part is not playing.
So here what you have seen in the video is all our modules are in the front of the building. We are not hiding our structures anywhere. So if the structures are visible in your premises, people will ask about it, that what this structure mean to. And then the discussion, the dialogue will open up that we are doing rainwater harvesting. But if your structures are not presentable, so what you will be doing is you will be hiding those structures, and you have made those structures because there is a compliance for it. We don't believe in that. We believe that if you are doing it, whether it is for the compliance or whether you need to do it for your cause, it has to be functional, and it has to be effectively giving the result. After, it has to give filtration ratio, it has to have a facility to maintain it. So our whole focus is on that, and based on that we have made all our products, and we have addressed through the so many years. So this is the basic concept. What normally is the easiest way to do it, that it's a rooftop water is there, you can just filter it by gravity, and you can fill your underground tank. So you don't need to make underground tank everywhere. Whatever reservoir is there with you, whether it is 5,000, 50,000, or 5 lakh liter, you can just connect your overhead lines with the smartly with the filters connected to it, and the overflow can go into your existing borewell. So in this, there is no power is required, nothing is required, and what the water which is coming, the fresh water which is coming from the roof, can be tapped smartly, can be reused in during the monsoon time. And in India, some places we have high precipitation in like Bangalore and up northeast, and so they get a lot of water throughout the year. So they can use this good quality, low TDS of water throughout the year. And some places like in Gujarat and where we have a monsoon of 2 to 3 months, during that time also, if you use this, because if we have a large roof area, we can convert all these good rainwater into a possibility of saving a lot of water, because here you don't need to pump it from the underground. The highly high TDS of water, which is you need to process it for your another process, you don't need to do that. By just filtering, basic filtration, you can reuse that water for your secondary or even for your production also. So there are many ways of doing it. At some places, people have overhead tanks in their factory. At some places near the coastal and all these places, it's little difficult to have an underground tank. So they have an above the ground tank available, or maybe they are having to, they put syntax tank above the ground. So what we do is we give an intermediate space, and we have a sensor pump which fill up the overhead tank. So these are all simple possibility which you don't need to have much of the infrastructural changes. Here you see that at the lowest point, at some places, you have a contour where you can collect the whole groundwater, surface water coming from it. So all these animations are based on the projects we have done. So I'll show you in the next slide that how all these things, all these concepts have been incorporated in the site. So in this, you will see that if you are filling a pond, lot of contamination and all the sediments is coming. So prior to that, if you filter it, you can fill your pond or the reservoir without having much of the sedimentation, because otherwise your footprint is lost. After a year, you will have a 600 mm to 700 mm of sediment in your pond. And if you have a 40 lakh, 30 lakh liter pond, your 10 lakh to 12 lakh is gone. And within 2-3 years, you can't use that pond, and it is very difficult to clean all these structures. So how we did it, because we have installed more than 15,000 units, we have worked with more than 500 projects across India and Mauritius. So we, before 17 years or 16 years, we started developing a product which can be easily transportable, easily installed. So we designed a product of precast concrete, which I showed you in the earlier video also, that it is of two elements. One is horizontal and one is vertical. We have designed in such a way that all the parts, the heaviest part is of the 55 kg. So we don't need any mechanical device on the site. Our local one installer, trained installer, go to the site, whether it is in Dumduma or down in South India. He goes there and we hire local laborers over there, unskilled laborers. They will just help him, and we create a well over there. Basically, it's a casing which normally people do it with the. So here we have a standardized product. It is of precast concrete M30 grade, and you see the cross section of it. Every 1 meter there is one step. So what happens that it becomes a layer to put my filters also. And otherwise, if it is a capsule, you don't have, so you put all the gravels and all the different kind of layers of filters on each other. And if you want to remove it out, there is no layers to get it up. In this condition, every 1 meter, a person can stand up, they can lift a bucket. And so inside, if you see the structure, it is a fair face concrete. And every 1.1 meter, there is a step. And it is very easy to install also. If you see, so this is how we, make more numbers in the short time. Suppose if any structures has to be created 50 numbers or 100 numbers. So we have done a couple of projects like a smart city in Dahod Smart City, Gandhinagar Smart City in record time. We did 125 locations in Dahod Smart City. Before it was the tender time limit, we have finished it up. Similarly with the Gandhinagar, and we are mostly connected with the corporate world. So recently we completed Nestle India and such projects. So what they need is they need a consistent standard product which gives a functionality throughout the time, and we take the it is maintainable most of them, and we as a part of our company we take the maintenance for the future also. Like in Dow Smart City, we are going to maintain for the 5 years, and we are confident of our design that we will be able to maintain it for coming years. So all the units what I'm going to show you, we have all different products for different environment. So this was the first product we had designed, and it is patented. And you see the person who is handling he is alone handling the whole thing, and the 2 to 3 laborers, they are just helping him out. And there is no nut bolt in the product. It's on the dead weight, and it is basically all the molds are CNC and turret punch we have done. So we have the layer of sand in the bottom, then we can put gravels over here. And through the time, we have learned and we have eliminated a couple of filter media also, because it was the logistics and everything was working not in a favor of a sustainable thing. So if you see this, so here we don't have, earlier in this unit, this is a primary unit in which we had a 1.5 tons of gravel in the upper unit. But now we have eliminated it because we came to understand that 1.5 tons of gravel along with my system supplied to the Dumduma side of Unilever, it will cost them, the 2,000 rupees gravel will cost them just 7,000 rupees, because I'm paying 5,000 rupees a ton for the transportation. So we felt that it is not a sustainable thing, because to pay the double the price of the product is not logical. So we made array filters. We redesigned the whole product within that case. And now we have array filters, and the water from the outside storm drain, which comes from here, it goes down, it comes up through the pressure, and it goes into the array filters, and then it comes into the secondary filter. This is the sand filtration unit. So this unit has a sand in the bottom. So all the water will flow from the top, and then it will rise in this pipe, and it will go out into the. So if you'll see in this video, exactly the whole process has been explained. So the water is coming from the storm drain, where we have a stainless steel leaf trap. So where all the leaf and everything is arrested. And here the water which is coming from the storm drain goes first down, and then it is coming up. So all the heavy particles are restricted down. From there, it is coming from the secondary filter. So here you see the water coming from the first also, it doesn't have any heavy particles. And after that, it goes into the borewell. So when it goes into the borewell shaft, it is the clean sediment-free water. And we can have arrangement of flow meter to be fixed in our systems, so that, people can measure it, how much they are recharging it. And as you see, all our units are not hidden somewhere. In all the factories or anywhere you go, it is very well designed product, so they don't feel like hiding it, and it is presentable also. And why to hide it? If suppose if the next generation, if you are hiding this product, your next generation will not know what is rainwater harvesting. If it is there in your landscape area, in your garden or somewhere else, people will ask, people with the next generation will know about it, and they will talk, and they will have the sensitivity of recharging or harvesting the thing. So similarly, we have another thing. The earlier product, what I showed you, is having the filtration rate of 30,000 liter per hour. Then we came to know that in some part of India, the recharging is not that high. It is hardly 5,000 to 10,000 liter per hour. So we designed a new product, which is just a simple one slab of 5 feet, say, and a person can just put it in, and there are two cylindrical filters over here. So in that, we fill the sand, and in the bottom, you see the mesh. So the whole water will rise from the bottom. So all the heaviest particle will remain in the bottom, and there is an outlet from here from which the water goes into the either underground tank or the borewell. It all works on gravity. And the best thing over here is both the filters, the cylinders, you can lift it, pull it out, remove the sand, wash it, put it back. So within half an hour, an hour, the whole unit can be serviced. So in this unit, you don't even require our help. We just train and we give the literature to the client, and they clean it themselves, and it requires, we also do the same thing. So you see over here, two filters are there. The water will rise from the this cylinder, and it will come out from here. And here we have given the handle, and all these things are removable. So it is not fixed with the glue. So it can come out, and you can refix it within the system. So all the modules, what we make, we take that care that it has to be easily maintainable from the user end. Because if it is very complicated or such, then it is not possible for the client or the user far-flung area to keep it functional. Similarly, we just introduced a precast. Again, we are into precast only. So this is a pedestal kind of product. You don't need to dig anything. It fits into your duct. It is the size of this is just 2 feet by 1 feet. So you can imagine that your downtake pipe is coming. So we have given the inlet of 110 mm pipe, 4-inch pipe, and then we have taken all the care. So this is the first flow. So you open up this. So your first flow is done. You close this. There is the water will go inside. There is a SS316 filter inside. I'll show you in the next slide. And we have given option of 2 outlets from the side also and from the bottom also. So either of it, you can use it. And in certain places, your borewell or tank gets overflowed. So the water will not go in. So your rooftop should not be flooded. So here we have given the overflow from the year. So it will overflow from the side. So less. So see, if you see here, it is exactly, this is the rainwater gutter, the water coming from down. It is connected with my system. And this is the first flush. And this is the overflow. You can connect it with your regular drain and you can take it out. And for maintenance, it is just a simple thing. If you see, this is the capacity of one filter to capture the, and how it is, how easy it is to clean it. So it's a SS316 25.25 microns. It is, so it is capturing the almost all the sediments which is coming from the roof. And if you see a couple of sites we have done since so many years, these are very prominent people in Ahmedabad. We have done, and they are using for the drinking application. So they have underground tank, and they just pass it through UV like AquaGuard or something, not RO or anything, and they are using it. So earlier we didn't have any other smaller version. So it was this bigger thing was installed over there. This is the Honda scooter. We have done entire factory, and we were on the board when they were planning the rainwater harvesting. And it is a very prominent project in near Mehsana. And now we are going for the second phase also. So we will be doing in the future. So here we have done 32 locations, recharge borewell, and 4 locations. These are the ponds. So all the excess water goes into the pond, and all these units have a interconnection, and it is set in such a way that the overflow is going through the filters, and there are borewell on the side which is connected. So we have the flexibility of doing it, and you can see that it is all clean and neat structure, which is presentable to the, even for the visitors also, and it is part of the whole architecture. Similarly, this is Unilever in Dumduma. So first project we did was in almost 2010. They just bought 2 units from us, which is 30 meter cube per hour. And we told them that, okay, if you don't want to recharge it, you can reuse it. So what they are doing is, they started with 2 units, and right now they must be having more than 30 units, and they are saving more than 2 crore liter water per year. And in Dumduma, you know, they have rains almost every week or 10 days, and they fill this tank through the pump, and they are reusing for all the secondary use, and they are making cosmetics. So they have requirement of fresh water. So what they are doing is, they are using this low TDS of water. They are processing for their regular requirement, and they are using for multiple process in their, so they are saving a lot of water also, and they have got a lot of awards also rather. And similarly, I have shown you the animation of filling the pond. So this is the Mars chocolate. So they also called us for making a recharge bore. But when we went there and we studied the area, it is a hard rock zone near Pune. And we suggested them that if you will make the recharge bore, it will be the waste of money, because you will get a hardly any percolation rate over here, and you won't be benefited as much. So why don't you reuse this water? And they had those kind of contours. And because we were covered in a very initial stage, so they made sure that there were they made 2 such big ponds. This is 40 lakh liter and another is 25 lakh liter. So all the water which is flowing from the surface of the factory gets filtered over here. So all the sediments get arrested over here. So there are 10 units over here. So 3 lakh liter per hour, they are filling the tank, this reservoir. And if you see, you might not be see, but the person is just scrubbing with a normal scrubber, rubber scrubber. So that much sediment is, it could be an atmospheric thing also. So they don't need to clean with a JCB or anything like that. And this is a line thing. So after 2 days of scrubbing and everything, it is ready for the next monsoon. So this way they are using rainwater for all their secondary use in over there. Similar projects we have done in Mauritius. This is Coast Guard office, which we have done 4 years back. Unfortunately, because of COVID, we could not continue with couple of projects in Mauritius. But here also, they have rainfall every week and they buy water. Everything is metered over there, not like in India where a couple of places are only metered. So even though the government body, they have to pay for it. So what we did, we connected all the roof top water. It gets filtered. There is a 30,000 liter tank here. It gets filled by gravity, and then it is pumped into these tanks, and then it is connected with the main system with the booster pumps. Similarly, we have done a couple of schools over there. This is also one of the Mauritius projects. But there is a limitation. There is no, you are not allowed to make a recharge bore and also there is no such equipment available also over there. So only thing we can do is the reuse it. So we have done many such projects, almost 20 plus projects in Mauritius, and we have right now in line to couple of projects to be done, but we will be doing in future. Similarly, this is also an ambitious project for us. It's a 32-kilometer Noida metro rail. On every alternate pier, there is a downtake pipe coming from the railway track. It is connected with my filter. It gets filtered. This is an empty unit. So they had some specification from the metro rail, and they needed some intermediate space to hold the water. And there is a borewell below. So we have done 500 units of such and 26 stations in this periphery. And now we will be doing another 42 kilometers from the next month. We are almost on the verge of getting the confirmation from them. And we maintain all these units. So it is 100%, I can say that it is a fully sustainable project. And any point of time, if you are passing through it, it is now well covered with the green area. This is very primary photograph which I had taken. But now they have they have a corridor, and all the units are having a nice landscape around. Recently, we completed, as I told you, Dahod Smart City 125 locations, and this was Tata Engineering was the consultant, and we suggested them and we gave them the BOQs because their BOQs were such that we could not maintain those structures, and we initiated the whole thing, and they were convinced with the thing, and now all the structures are barricaded with lock and key, and we are maintaining for the next 5 years. And here we are doing a very interesting thing. We are going to have a data recorder, and we are documenting the whole thing. And we are in talk with SVNIT in Surat, that we are sponsoring the whole program for this. And we want the data for next 5 years, that what is changing the quality and the levels within this 125 structure. So we are now gathering all the data, what we have done it, and we are also inviting the students to work on an internship or maybe a full-time. We are open for it. So these are also our structures. The similar, it is a precast concrete. You can take the water from the horizontal way. There are gravels inside. And again, below that, what I showed you with the 2-cylinder unit, it gets filtered. So when it is from the surface, you can just put a unit above it. All our products are certified Green Pro, and we try to be more sustainable in our production also, and we think of the green points also, that whenever it is to be transported, we think about the maximum transporting facilities within the one truck, how it goes. So we have all the illustration for the maintenance also, and we instruct our client that they should maintain the unit. And if they require, we give the services also for the maintenance. Recently, we just completed ONGC, Nestle, and all these are big projects. And all these are based on our past work done with them. Nestle, we are doing all India, so we are associated with them since last 15 years. Gandhinagar Municipal Corporation, we did for GIDC electronic zone before 12 years, and based on our units functioning throughout since last 12 years, they invited us with our own BOQs, and we already completed 50 locations last year, and this year again another 50 locations they have tendered for it. Similarly, Davos Smart City, as I explained you, and we are working on a couple of projects also with Tata Engineering, but it is in the pipeline and we are working on this. These are our clients. So you will see all our clients are from a different background, and we have catered to from the car industry to the dairy, and you can pharmaceutical, food industry, paint industry. This is a glass industry, you can see. So we have all kind of clients, from single house owner to a major city. We have catered to them, and this is only possible because we have standardized everything, and we are focusing on the functionality and the maintenance part of the product, rather the structures, that it should be user friendly and it can be easily maintainable and can be. And we had 2 years back, we started a range studio. So Dinesh Sharma is a product designer from NID, and he's associated with us since the inception of this company. And this design studio is only dedicated for research and design activities in the field of rainwater conservation. We don't do anything beyond that over there. So, and we invite students to work, or anyone who is interested in working for the conservation of water. And if they have anything to share with us, we will sponsor the whole thing, and Dinesh will take care of everything. And so this is a very ambitious thing, and we want that new ideas should come from the new generation of people, and they should be sensitized with the subject, so that the future should be more sustainable in water and other things also. And we are based in Ahmedabad, and we have people to work with. And to end this, I would just say, let's use rainwater. Thank you very much. Jai Shri.
Thank you so much, Mr. Tarwata. Wonderful insight and a lot to learn from your experiences on rainwater and the systems that you have developed. Wonderful insights. Thank you again. So with this, I think I will just quickly open on the question answer session. If any questions we have, any of you have, please post them on the Q&A tab. So far, I haven't received any questions, but
Yeah.
hello. Hello.
Hello. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So while I'm waiting if any questions on the dashboard, I have just two questions. One for Dr. Jain. I mean, he is a tremendous source of and wealth of this information throughout his career, staggering career with a lot of insights as far as the groundwater is concerned. I'd like to hear maybe just 2 pointers from you, that how are we placed as India being one of the most populous. You already shared in your presentation, and I'm wondering that we are not doing enough. Rainwater is one step in a right direction, but it's a tiny step, because majority of our water is being used by agriculture, and the most of the focus is generally on the urban side in terms of our efforts, rather than the larger piece of the pie that we can tackle. Are there any real steps being taken that you are aware to really work in direction of agriculture efficiency for the groundwater use?
Yes. See, now the government of India has taken up Atal Bhujal Yojana. See, that's a project being implemented in 7 water stressed areas, wherein we are basically addressing the agricultural efficiencies in terms of, like, here we are encouraging the demand side management of water through the agricultural farmers. In this process, we are preparing water security plans of each gram panchayat. There are something like 2,000 gram panchayats which are taken up in this project in Gujarat for the year 2025. And we have started with education, information campaign and training campaign of the farmers and the beneficiaries who use water for agriculture and irrigation purposes, to train them and to change the mindset that providing more and more water doesn't really help you in getting more and more crop. And that if you provide water through micro and drip sprinkler irrigation, you not only save on the water which is being used, but you also produce better quantity of crops also. So, like, we have tied up with the GGRC, Gujarat Green Revolution Company, which is providing subsidy to the extent of 75%, 70 to 75% of the total cost of installation of the drip and sprinkler irrigation system. And we are encouraging people to adopt it. Then we have also educated people, and many of the beneficiary farmers have come with the proposition of crop diversification. That is using lesser water consuming crops in place of the more water consuming crops. So I think these are the 2 important initiatives under the Atal Bhujal Yojana, wherein we are interacting at the grassroots level with the people utilizing the water resources, including groundwater, because most of it is groundwater, and then how to conserve upon it. Not only this, we are also working on other demand side approaches and also some supply side augmentation. That is, if the water budget comes out to be surplus for the particular gram panchayat, then we are also implementing some of the structures for augmentation of groundwater through artificial recharge, rainwater harvesting, construction of check dams, or things like that. So we are approaching it in a holistic manner for the complete optimization and utilization of the water resources at the GP level. And in the GP level, the basic decisions are taken by the Gram Sabha, wherein all the stakeholders are involved in taking a decision and also getting the decision implemented. We are asking for the supervision. So this way, possibly, because this is a pilot taken in 7 states. So if this pilot proves out to be successful, this can be replicated in other states of the country, wherein we will have a lot of benefits on the water conservation and groundwater recharge, demand management, and application of some strategic techniques like precision irrigation, wherein we will actually know when do we need the water and then we provide the water. Then we have introduced flow meters to measure actually the quantum of water being pumped by the people through their borewells in the pre and post collect scenario to give them a demonstration that really what is working. So we are also devising some of the field trial demonstrations where we can show the people that what really works by taking a solo and a post implementation plot. So these are the kinds of initiatives being taken at the block level. There are 36 blocks wherein these 2,000 GPs are located in 6 districts of Gujarat, which are water stressed, like the northern part of Gujarat, that is Gandhinagar, Patan, Mehsana, Banaskantha, Sabarkantha, and Kutch. These are the regions where the level of overexploitation is there. We have about 25 overexploited sambas. And another about 5-6 are critical and some semi-critical also where water levels are declining. So all those areas have been taken up and we are hopeful. The exercises started only last year. So we are hopeful that with the implementation, we should be able to see some really green signals to further go ahead in water conservation and sustainable utilization.
Wonderful. Lot of activities you are doing, and
Yes.
hopefully out of those good stories, I think we can percolate across the farming industry. because that can make a bigger impact because their consumption is 89% compared to the all other. So even if we do little there, I think it will make a big impact. So thank you for sharing your insights. There's a question for Mr. Habil.
Yeah.
The question says, can we not work on integrating DWATs and rainwater harvesting together?
See, basically, it has a biological, it has more of a biological impurities in if the treated water. I think he is asking for the treated water, wastewater treatment water, and rainwater, right? Am I right over there?
Yes, yes.
So in wastewater, there are a lot of biological contamination, and here we are just separating the physical contamination. So if we are putting a biological contamination in the aquifers, it will contaminate the entire aquifers, and which is not allowed by the Central Groundwater Board also. So that's why we are not merging two things, and it is not allowed also by law.
Right, right. No, so there is no combined system.
For just a small clarification, that for the quality of water to be recharged must meet the drinking water standards. If you have to recharge the water, it should be purified to meet the drinking water standards. And unless that requirement is satisfied, no source water should be utilized for recharge. So long as the rainwater is concerned, it doesn't have the contamination and other impurities. But the effluent generated from the industries has got lot many substances in it. So unless these waters are properly treated up to the drinking water level, it is recommended not to use these waters for recharge to groundwater. Because as Mr. Atharvana said clearly, it will permanently contaminate the aquifers.
Right, right. Thank you so much. I think you touched the answer. I hope Subham Jain got the answer. We are already 8 minutes over our time limit. I mean, this is a very primary and very important subject for all of us to share concern. And I'm sure the discussions and the questions keep coming. But unfortunately, we are already over the time. I would request Himanshu to share the contact of our presenters so that they can get engaged personally with any specific questions if they have to continue the dialogue. And we may want to have a follow-up session with next level of agenda because I'm sure that there's a lot of work needs to be done in these particular aspects when we talk of the sustainability. So I would request Himanshu if you can share become a conduit with any future questions that our participants may have. But again, on behalf of IGBC Gujarat chapters, as well as all of our participating partner institutes, I really share my deepest gratitude and thank you for sharing your knowledge and wonderful products that you have developed over the year. And I am sure that will contribute a lot as time goes by with such products in saving the water table and improving our water quality that is highly needed. I thank you again, everybody. Himanshu, you have anything to add, or we can close this officially?
Yeah, sir, we can close this, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Jan sir, thank you, Will bhai. Thank you very much.
Thank you.